is inner chatter creating chaos?
And so this is what we said at the beginning, is that we could have this episode done so quickly. Is inner chatter creating chaos? Yes.
Yes. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, it's not.
No, it isn't. It is.
Is
No.
inner chatter creating chaos? Duh. Yes.
Absolutely.
So the answer is yes. I don't know anyone who has inner chatter, that doesn't create chaos. Because whether it's a high or low chatter, it's going to create some sort of engagement into your brain to run that marathon story.
Yeah, some
whether
kind
it's
of crazy making thing. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's a positive or negative. So the short answer for our whole podcast is, I was going to say, duh, yes. Yes. The answer is yes. Now we're going to give you some tips on how to manage it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not just going to leave you there and go, thanks very much for the podcast. Don't forget to rate us. We're now going to give you some. Yeah, that's it. We're now going to give you some tips on how to handle it, how to manage it, how to move through it, how to breathe through it, how to go from a 10 to a 0, how to go from 100 to a 0. So, well, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Moira. Hi,
Hello,
listeners.
my dear.
This is our deliciously motivated mindset podcast / conversation / chinwag /
blether
solution based. Yeah, what did you call it? Yeah,
blether. Yeah, this will be a blether.
Yeah. This is us. Welcome. Oh my God, I know we say I think we say it literally every day.
I'm sure we do.
This is a goodie.
This is a goodie.
But if you could listen to us prior to jumping on and hitting record.
But we should have recorded some outtakes for this one.
Oh my God. There'd be too many bloopers. Bleepers. They're bleeping.
Yes, likely.
Because yes. So welcome everybody to today's podcast that we have. There's Moira and Debz, clearly. I'm Debz, the one with the no accent, and that's Moira with the crazy as Scottish accent.
the wee bit of the accent.
Yeah, the wee bit of
just
the accent.
A wee bit of an accent.
I can't even imitate your accent. I don't even think I could probably try. Maybe not on a recording though. So if you've come to us before, thank you for coming back. If you haven't come to us before,
welcome.
Actually, welcome. Thanks for joining and pat that person on the back who's referred you, because it definitely engages a conversation when other people refer you and go, what did you think of that conversation? Because it's definitely, this is the tips I've got. So it's a great one to even share and talk to people about. What do you think? Because it's engaging the conversation. And we all know when you have an up-leveling or deflating conversation, it can actually bring light or joy or not, light or dark into your world. So that's not the intention, is to bring you the dark. And the intention is to bring you the light and keep you in the light.
Definitely.
So we have a little, I don't even think we actually label it anything. What do we call
kind
it?
Of an assessment, right?
Assessment, that's what we call it.
Yes.
Yeah. And the assessment is 0 being a beautiful space to be in. Oh, I just went there. And 10 being where I was at before our call today. And you're just going to label yourself a number. You're just going to pick a number of where you're at. 10 being completely chaotic, frazzled, just in a
discombobulated.
Yeah, just nothing seen clearly. Yeah, it's like you've got fog in your glasses and you can't see.
Yeah.
That's and you can see it, you can just get rid of the fog. That's a 10. And 0 is just that beautiful space to be. So what we do is we check in where we are now. We write that number down. Halfway point, you're going to check in again where you're at, and you're going to put that number, and then at the very end you're going to check that number, and you're just going to see how little insights have allowed you to change that number from a higher number to a lower number. Now our intention is to get you to a 0, obviously, but sometimes you don't get to a 0 and you can get to a 1 or a 2 or a 3, or even just move from an 8 till a 7. Just acknowledge that you can move through things when you have your light bulb moments. If they don't, I'll try and explain it every time differently. I don't know. That's basically it. So in saying that, Moira, what number are you?
2.5. Just like that.
So I overthink this one. I go, oh, maybe I'm a 4. No, you're not a 4. Maybe you're a 3. Maybe you're a 2. Are you a 2 or you're a 2.5? So I love that Moira's just gone bang. That's where she is. I'm actually going to say I'm a 3.5 today. And I can tell you that's bloody good. Because when I got on the call earlier.
Compared to earlier.
When I got on the call earlier, I didn't even think a 10 was in the equation. I think I was beyond a 10. I was further down the numbers. Not due to internal chatter, just due to other people's chaos. I don't want to deal with. So that number now just gets written down. Moira 2.5, me 3.5, and then we move on and you check in your halfway point and then at the end. So the only thing I'm going to ask you to do now before you sit back or drive or listen to this is a pen and paper. Grab pen and paper or a typing device or something that you can actually jot some notes down. Now, if you're driving clearly, please don't do that. If you're a passenger, write them down for the person who's driving. They might go, that's a great one. Jot that tip down, because we will give you clearly more than 5 tips. I'm going to say probably 7, usually on average. I don't know. On this. And our topic today is, I just laugh at this because this is was me this morning. Of course, this is how it goes. Is inner chatter creating chaos?
And so this is what we said at the beginning, is that we could have this episode done so quickly. Is inner chatter creating chaos? Yes.
Yes. And I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it isn't.
Is inner chatter creating chaos? Duh. Yes.
Absolutely.
So the answer is yes. I don't know anyone who has inner chatter, that doesn't create chaos. Because whether it's a high or low chatter, it's going to create some sort of engagement into your brain to run that marathon story.
Yeah, whether it's a crazy making thing. Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's a positive or negative. So the short answer for our whole podcast is, I was going to say, duh, yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Now we're going to give you some tips on how to manage it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're not just going to leave you there and go, thanks very much for the podcast. Don't forget to rate us. We're now going to give you some. Yeah, that's it. We're now going to give you some tips on how to handle it, how to manage it, how to move through it, how to breathe through it, how to go from a 10 to a 0, how to go from 100 to a 0. So tip 1, Moira.
Tip 1 is one that I really like, and it's actually, I know that it's something that you love to think about with gratitude, but something that I like to encourage people to do is to have some appreciation for the different dialogues. So for instance, let's say part of the inner chatter is a critical conversation saying, you're never going to do that. That's not the right way to do it. It's not going to be perfect, or right. So let's just take that as a scenario. You're working on a project and you have this inner chatter that says that's not good enough and you're not going to be able to succeed. So what I mean by appreciating it is to say thank you to it. Thank you, inner critic. Because here's the thing is, I believe that all inner chatter at its root is trying to keep you safe, to keep you successful and not being ridiculed or targeted or get in trouble or get something wrong or offend somebody or things of that nature. So if we say thank you chatter, I get that you're trying to keep me safe, but right now I'm good, don't need it, so thanks. And so I think that there's a little process that happens within us that it turns the volume down, because that chatter then kind of goes, well, actually that's the truth, I was trying to make sure you didn't look stupid or didn't fall on your face, or right. So appreciate.
So even the appreciate actually has 3 spins to it. It's appreciate it, acknowledge it, and then trust it.
Yeah.
Like if we looked at step 1, A, B, and C.
Because that's very true.
That's exactly what you've just said, is appreciate it, but actually appreciate it and don't ignore it.
Yes. Yes. Because
appreciate
if you ignore it, it just gets louder and keeps prattling on, trying to get your attention, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't have to agree with it.
No.
I think that's the other thing. You don't have to agree with it, but if acknowledging it, because we all know it's the old saying: you want to be seen, heard, seen and heard, seen, heard, acknowledged. You know, people want to see you, and you want to be seen, heard. Oh,
And
yeah,
liked.
like, yeah. That's it. I was like, there is another thing that you want. Yeah. Do you like me? Yeah. And even if you say, I don't care about what other people think about me. Yeah. Okay. That's a great story you've got. Don't BS yourself. Yeah. But actually trust that you can get through this as well.
Yeah.
Trust that. So you're appreciating it, acknowledging it, and then trusting that you'll find a solution to move from that 10 to a 0.
Yep.
I would say.
Yeah.
And I love that. Simple. Thank you. I've got this. And we all know when you say thank you, I've got this. There's just one little thing you have to do that goes with that. So ABCD on number 1 is hand on heart.
Hand on your heart. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because that just, thank you, I've got this, and reminding yourself that heart makes the decisions. If you can make the decisions in the heart, it's such a different space than making them in your head.
Well, the thing is truth be told, we are kind of conditioned to make our decisions from our head, work it out, be rational, be logical, create the plan of action. It's not true.
Yeah, your heart knows what to do.
Your heart knows right away. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. So that's tip number 1. Now, we don't often do ABCDs to each one. In fact, I don't think we've ever done it. But when you start talking about appreciation, I'm like, hang on, it's all in that same sentence. So that's the end of our podcast. Thanks. Not quite.
Not really. There's loads more. We could chatter for a long time about inter-chatter creating chaos.
Yeah, we definitely can. So I'm actually going to say people. And when I say people, there's going to be an A and B side to this one too, actually. So when I say people,
setting a vibe for this episode.
Yeah. And so when I say people, I'm thinking people. Who do you have around you? Are they uplifting you or are they deflating you? So not only that, there's going to be. I'll just do the 2 people and then we can look at it. So who's around you? And then I'm going to say find a professional. And so I'm going to go for the find a professional first. Now, even though Moira and I are here, we're clearly the professional I'm going to talk about, Moira and me being Debz, the one with the no accent. So when I say a professional, talk to a professional who is not attached to your story, attached to who's not attached to your emotion, who can, because when you say, oh, I'm trying to do this, and someone goes, why don't you do that? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
It's because you're on that hamster wheel and you can't see clearly. So you often ask somebody and they go, just do that. And you're like, oh, why didn't I think about that?
Because you're too busy.
That is so
you're too
simple.
Busy getting caught in the hamster wheel, like you just said.
Yeah, that tornado that's ripping through you, and you're feeling like your roof's just come off. So find a professional who's not going to put their spin on it.
Yeah,
who's going to stay neutral, because I'm neutral to my clients. Well, I do like some more than others. So I'm not, okay, maybe I'm not that neutral. I heard that and I went, no, there's some you really like and some you just,
But even that aside, for myself, I do really hold neutral space. Because
totally.
That's the whole point of what we do, is that we are called upon to hold neutral space. It has nothing to do with whether we like this person or not. We are still going to hold neutral space, right?
Yeah, and I am the same too, exactly. But it is that. So find somebody who is not going to put their emotion to your story.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than having, if you're at a 10 and someone else goes, well, let me tell you what happened to me, and I'm still holding on to that. They've just added another 10 onto your 10.
Yeah.
And you're now got a 20 to deal with. And to move from a 20 to a 0 is a little bit more challenging, because you've then taken on their inner chatter that's come out of chatter, and you've attached their story to yours.
So you just 3x'd your inner chaos, right?
yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And if you talk to a friend or a family member, they're going to ask you next time they see you, hey, how did you go with talking to your boss about a pay rise? Hey, how did you go about talking to your partner about finding that message on the phone. Hey, how did you go about that? I've
Mhm.
been talking to my friend about you and they said this, this, and this, and they had this. So instantly, if they've shared that with a friend, your 10 goes to a 20 instantly, but it then goes to a 30. So you're at a 30 to
Mhm.
get back to a 0. So,
Mhm.
so that professional is somebody who's neutral to that situation. I think I've explained that one there.
Yeah.
So on that other one, so that's B of professional people, B. But A is who's around you. Are those people there for your best interest, or are
Right.
they there for their best interest?
Mhm.
If I could put, that's probably the easiest way of putting it.
Mhm.
Because people can lift us up and deflate us. Now, there's value in people who try and deflate us because we learn from that and we can definitely leverage our energy from it. And you often don't see the blessings in how somebody said something to you until you actually take the time and energy to work through it. Talk to a professional. But those people around you are really important, because if you've had a poo day and you go and talk to a friend, you know, if they're not there to lift you up or give you some insights into something or whatever, or they don't want to hear that stuff and they're just sitting there with their own internal channel, you're going to come away from that and you're going to feel like the leech is attached to you and sucked all your blood and energy
Yeah, you're
out.
going
So
to
if
feel
you
deflated.
yeah, you're gonna feel completely.
Mhm.
So just be aware of who is around you and the role you're allowing them to play in your world.
Yeah. A really important question that I would like to add on to what you were just saying is that to ask yourself, how do I feel about myself here, like with this person? How do I feel about myself when I'm with this person? So what you're looking for is, I feel like I have to be on guard, or I have to be fixing, or I have to take a role, or I have to listen to them, or
Yeah,
right?
that's actually a great one, because we do go, oh, I'm going over to see my mum. Not
Yeah.
my mum, but oh, I'm going to see my mum. I've got to put my game on face. I can't let her
Yes.
know that I'm having a bad day. I'd like,
Yeah. And so
yeah.
right there, you don't feel
And you avoid people.
comfortable. Yeah, you do. But that's the key piece. You either avoid them or you put a big mask up in front, and then you're not really being yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Mm,
creates chaos too. Right.
yeah. It can definitely spin you. So I love that. How do I feel about myself with this person?
Yeah.
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 That's a great one into number 2A.
Yes. 2A point, and then
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. God, we've never done this one before. Oh, things are changing. Things are changing.
my
I
next
love
tip
that.
my next
Perfect.
tip is kind of, you alluded to this when we were talking about the first tip, but we don't have to listen to it.
Mm.
I think that it's really important to see. Actually, it was a guided meditation I was recording just recently, that basically was inviting people to have a look at the inner chatter or the thinking process from a few steps back, like being an observer of what's going, the chatter prattling along, and just kind of, oh, isn't that interesting? You know, I'm worrying, there's some worry about this, or there's a conversation about that, or the critical piece is critical, the inner critic is suggesting this or that. And to just kind of seeing if you could have a, number one, a light hold on it, but number two, always remember you don't have to believe the things that's chattering in your mind. And
Yeah.
you could actually pause and say, is that the truth? You know,
Yeah, I
like
love
if the
that. Is
inner
that the
chatter,
truth?
yeah, if the inner chatter saying, oh my God, you're going to be late. Wait a minute, is that the truth?
Mm.
Actually, I don't know.
I love that. You're going to be late. It's like, well, I've never been late before. Why
Yeah.
are you putting? Or someone goes, you're going to be late if you don't leave now. It's like, well, I leave later than this, and I still get there on time, and I've never had that. So that yeah, you don't have to listen to. And that's also the other thing about that 2.1 is about the people around you.
Yes.
You know, attaching to their stories. Actually, that's probably another
Yeah.
point. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That actually would be another tip, because we can say
Yeah.
more about that. So that would be tip number 4, right?
Yeah.
So say some more about that.
Attaching, yeah, attaching. I'm going to write this down to others. stories.
Yeah. So it's like so that tip, my tip was to not attach to the stories that's happening within us and not necessarily having to believe them. But then this, don't attach to other people's way
because
of
people
looking.
can throw you their stuff and you're like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. And they can throw you positive or negative things, or they're just throwing you stories. And sometimes they share. So you'll hear us share a story about something. They go, oh yeah, I know that happens to me. And I did that. And then next thing you go, oh, did you know this happened? And did you know this happened? And, you know, and I'll go back to the example of pregnancy, other people's stories. And when I was pregnant and it was my first child, and people would say, oh, my friend's cousin's neighbor's dog groomer's lady, she had a child 100 years ago. And it comes to that. And did you know she had this problem and this problem and this problem? So you be careful of that. And you're like, okay, great. You've just given me something now to have some inner chatter, and it's going to cause chaos, because that inner chatter causing chaos is coming from your lack of education, your lack of knowledge, your lack of solution-based things, because you're in chaos. So people can throw a story, and people often are not doing it. I don't believe they're doing it to upset you or peeve you off or anything like that. They're just like, oh, I can help with this person.
Yeah, they're
I
not
can tell
being
you
malicious, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, they're just going, oh, let me tell you a story about that. And they tell you that stuff. And if you're in that, oh, first child, I shouldn't eat seafood, and I shouldn't eat cold meat, and I shouldn't eat rice, and the doctor says I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and, you know, I'm not saying, you know, eat all that stuff or don't all that stuff, do what's right for you. But other people have stories that they will give to you, and you can attach to them or not. But the beautiful part is separating and going, oh, that's their story. Wow, that's interesting. I love that. I'm going to park that in my head. I'm not going to attach to it, but I'm going to be aware of it. Yeah. So it's just part of that, that step one again, appreciate and acknowledge it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So something else to kind of lead on from what you just said is that I just wrote down a tip, and I guess this would be number 5, is to be aware of the source of where it's coming from. Because you know how you just said, you know, my auntie's, uncle's, whatever. One thing that, and I've had multiple conversations about this, where somebody will say something to me, you know, like, this is what's going to happen. And I'll say, how do you know that? And but because everybody says so. Everybody says so. It's like, well, who is it?
But when you challenge, and that's a challenge, you say to them, who said that? Like, nah, that's a crockish, you know, and you say that, and they're like, and they're suddenly instantly challenged, like, I'm just trying to help you. It's like,
no, you're not.
Don't.
But sometimes this, because I've heard it so many times like that, everybody knows or everybody says. And so one of the things that if somebody's saying that to me, I'll say, well, actually, no, everybody doesn't say that, because I'm not saying it. Am I not one of everybody?
Oh, I love that. So there was just something on social media. Who was it? What's her name? Miley Cyrus.
Okay.
And Miley Cyrus, and she said it was amazing to meet everyone in London. And someone went, you never met me. I know, everyone in London. I love meeting everyone in London. And someone wrote, you never met me. And I remember thinking,
you didn't, right?
I know. So that's the same thing.
That's
everyone,
funny.
I know. And I just went, and that's exactly the example of what Moira's just said.
Yep.
So, it's great to meet everyone in London. Did you? How? Did you do that in one day? Because you're only there for like 3 hours. How did you meet everyone in London?
Do you know how many people there are there?
I know. Did you go to every hospital? Did you go to the cemetery? How did you do this? How did you get around every single spot in London? But I liked that, because we do say things like that. Oh, everyone thinks like that. You know, people hate, I'm going to bring in Donald Trump. Moira's probably just about to roll her eyes here.
Oh, really?
You know, people go, oh, everyone hates Donald Trump. No, there's not everyone who hates Donald Trump. But there's people who do dislike him. who think of him and go to a 10, and then there's people who think of him and go to a 0 on their number. So no, not everyone hates Donald Trump. Shall I burst that bubble? Not everyone. So I love that you've just said that. But there's just 2 examples of how we use our words so casually without even realizing, going, oh my God, everyone hates Donald Trump. Oh, I must start to hate him. I'm not going to give you my opinion on him. and this is not about him, but it's
that's
that whole
not what we're talking about.
No, but it's about having that everyone. Oh, this happens every time I go there. Does it?
Yeah.
Every time everyone goes there, it's the same story. They're always late or whatever. It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not, because I've been and I haven't had that problem. Oh, you'll always get a problem. Always, it's that word always, isn't it, actually?
It's always or never, right?
Yeah.
Always or never. That's the 2 ends of the spectrum.
That always, that I have to say, that never word, just when I say, oh, I never do that. I think I did on this podcast just before. I said, as soon as you say never, I never do that. Literally, I guarantee within 24 hours max, it's going to smack.
You're going to do it. You're going to say it, or you're going to do it. It's going to happen.
And it's going to come out, and you're going to go, uh-oh. And you literally, I do it when it happens. I look behind us and say, oh, who did that? It's me. I did it. I just said, I know I said I never say that. Like, I never do that. And then it's going to happen. So never say never and never say always.
Yeah.
Because it always happens to me. It always happens to everyone.
This is the thing is that when we get into that everybody says, or that it never happens, or it always goes this way, we're actually overruling the fact that we're all unique and we're all walking to the beat of our own drum.
Yeah.
So none of us can actually say, well, I know how everybody else is thinking, or I know how everything else is going to pan out, because
no one.
Nope.
Well,
sorry.
2020.
Sorry, not sorry.
I know. Yeah, 2020. Hello. And when I think about this, what we're talking about is inner chatter creating chaos. That ain't no inner chatter. That's inner scream.
Yeah.
That ain't no chatter. I'm just going to say, if you're getting to the always or never, that ain't no chatter. That's internal screaming. And is it creating chaos? No, never. No. No, not at all. Not at all.
No, just implosion maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is a great one for me to bring up the next tip, because the next tip is 2 words, know why. And I'm not talking about KNOW, know the why. I'm talking about no. Nope. Don't, no. Nope. Never. Never look at the why. Always don't look at the why. Just don't, because that, and we talk about the hamster wheel. There is no smooth process of finding your why. Like, why did this happen to me? Don't worry about why it's happened. What's the solution? How can you move through this? What's the blessing in that situation? Like, you're going to go on a crazy internal scream if you're going down the why path.
Yeah, definitely, because it will always 100% take you into a negative spin. Because like you say, who cares why? It is what it is. So that's so we just need to accept, right?
It's a waste of time and energy, because you will never, why did he lie to me? Why did he cheat? Oh, I don't know. Let's ask him. Let's just pick up the phone and ask him, because he's going to give you the truth. No, that's the truth today. 3 weeks ago, the truth is different in his mind or her mind or whatever. But that why is a never-ending circle.
But it's always got, like I said, my thing about why is that it will always take you into a negative spin, right? Because if you say, oh, why did I overbook my schedule? So because
because I'm stupid.
I'm stupid.
Dumb.
Yeah, because I suck. I'm an
a
idiot.
people pleaser.
I'm crazy. Yeah. All those are not, and that's creating even more chaos. Why did they do this to me? But then the other thing too is, why did they do this to me? Could be, oh well, it could have been this. Oh, I know, because this. It could have been
I know more.
There's more inner chatter creating crazy, making chaos, right?
Yeah, Why did that car hit me? I don't know. I don't know why that car hit you. Maybe you're going too slow. Maybe you're going too fast. Maybe you got in the car at the wrong time. Maybe, no why. That's tip 6. Know why.
Absolutely.
But it's a never ending questioning process that is not going to light you up and sprinkle glitter all over. You can sprinkle as much glitter as you want on that why, but
a quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
There's an old saying, and it's quite a horrific saying, but I quite like it. You can put a lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. And that's, which is a horrible thing. I don't think it's a great thing to say, but I actually get it. If anyone's offended, I'm going to say sorry. I'll publicly say sorry. It's not to offend, and I don't know, but for me, I go, oh, you're right. You can glitter bomb it as much as you want, but it's not gonna. It's still gonna sit in that yuck space. That's what I'm meaning about that. But that's that why you can do that, but it's not gonna. You're not gonna get a result that's gonna fill your heart up, and that's the intention, is to fill your heart up, to take you to that 0.
Definitely.
Your actions throughout the day, what you say, how you feel, all those is our intention, and your soul's intention is to keep you in that 0. Now we know you can't be in a 0 all the time, because that would be, as much as it would be lovely for a moment.
Well, it would be lovely for a moment, but then it would be like, how would you know what a 0 was if you didn't experience chaos once in a while?
Yeah, totally. And how do you learn and have those experiences? Yeah. So there. So there.
So there. My next tip that I want to bring into this, and I hadn't thought of this before, but it's about taking responsibility, taking ownership, remembering that you're the boss of you. So if inner chatter is creating chaos, then you can say, hey, hold on to this crazy making train. And you can even whistle. You know, the whistle, the train stops here, and I'm getting off this train because I am the boss, right? So it's kind of like, and actually, personally, I do this, because we can all get caught in crazy making thinking of, we think worst case scenario, and it's going to go this way and this way, and then suddenly you're thinking about something that happened when you were, I don't know, 11 years old. How on earth did I get here?
I know that it comes from nowhere, and you're like, whoa, what? Yeah,
I know. So what I mean by taking responsibility is kind of like, okay, lovingly saying, okay, this is really not going to create calmness or solution or light me up or bring me to creating or being the best, whatever it is I'm being at that moment. So I'll say thank you to all those thoughts, but I don't need to listen. So it's about reminding you that all of those thoughts are actually not you. You're the witness to them.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, witness to your own thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with taking responsibility, you can come back to that of like, oh, wait, I just let them just prattle on, tell their story. I don't have to engage with them. I'm just going to witness them.
Yeah.
Appreciate them, love them, let them go. They will. The volume will dial down over time.
I don't want to take responsibility to my problem I had this morning, but I just heard that and it got into my heart and took me down to an 11 again.
Oh no.
I went, no, I've got the insurance company, I delivered my car and then this didn't happen, and I'm like, I don't want to take any responsibility in this. I don't.
You don't have to
Damn,
take
I actually think these are all mine.
Them. You don't have to take responsibility for them.
For my role. For
your role.
I know, all I did, Yeah, okay. I just realized all I did when I got on the podcast, I went, blame. They haven't done this and they haven't done this. And it was just, and I didn't even, as soon as you went, take responsibility, I went, oh, all these things. And I looked at my notes and went, oh, all these things we're talking about is exactly my insurance problem right now with my car.
Creating chaos. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Is it inner chatter, or this morning it was external chatter, and there's a few little words colourful words. Oh, see, colourful words that came out for that. That's, oh, can you hear that noise in the background? That's my dog. He's just come back in and he's digging for spiders in his bed.
Oh, I can't actually hear him, but
you can. He's
digging for
down there. He's going for anything.
spiders.
So we just know that I have no inner chatter. The dog's just doing his own little chatter there. The next one I'm going to say, which is a little bit along the taking responsibilities, is, and it's a word I don't like. And
I can hear him now.
So hardly. And I want to tell him off or say something, but he's not even going to hear me anyway.
No, he's just doing his own thing.
We've got two dogs, one who listens and one who just does his thing. And apparently this one here called Finn, people go, oh, this is Finn. He's Deborah on 4 legs. What do you mean? I listen.
Doing your own thing.
Exactly. Oh, you talk to me? Oh, yeah, you're telling me off. Oh, yeah, but you're still talking to me. And this one is a word starting with B, and it's called boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally don't like the word boundaries, just because it feels like a constraint or restraint, tying me up, boundaries. But be aware of yours and others.
Yeah.
And so it's read the room. If you're talking to somebody about something, just be aware of that space, that energy, that conversation. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't feel right to you, put a stop to it.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid. So there's boundaries don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to pause the conversation, to time out. Don't be afraid to actually put yourself first in any situation.
That's crucial. That's crucial.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't really know what else to say about boundaries. Is that's it. Just don't be afraid to say, this doesn't make me feel right, or this is uncomfortable. Says me who's avoiding a few things right now. but it is, put those boundaries in place, because if you don't have them in place, and we get, and I'm going to say stung, we get stung constantly, and we go, oh, that's a reminder. Right. I know that.
Yep.
Why am I doing the same thing again? Uh-oh. Is that a why question? Oh, whoops, I recognize this. Let's pull myself back. Because you do get burnt. You do get stung when your boundaries are crossed. And you think you've got your boundaries in place, and someone does something and you're like, okay, I'll just do it for this person. And then you get stung again and you're like, duh, you knew this.
Yep.
So be aware of know that boundaries are goalposts that can be shifted. No problem for each individual. It's not set in concrete. For my people, it's not set in concrete that you can't contact me after hours. That's not a boundary. You can contact me, whether I respond or not, or whether actually I hear it if it's the middle of the night or whatever. Like, that's a different scenario. So you can definitely do that. But put those boundaries in place that work for you, but know they are bendable, flexible, adaptable.
Flexibility. I like that.
Yeah.
Flexibility and adaptability is super important. But you see, the thing about having boundaries is about claiming your worth, right?
Yeah.
Because if you allow everybody to have their own, like, oh, I need you to answer this email, I need you to be on call, from 6 a.m. till midnight, and you, I better run, I better do this. No, we have to understand that we educate people how to treat us. Yeah. And it's done by boundaries, and we do it by honoring and being worthy of our own care. And so you said earlier about, you got to put you first. It's so important, because by doing that, you get to be the most authentic, aligned being that you are. With no
which
other
is
filters or
a
stuff.
Beautiful place to be, and that's the best place to be. That's all 100%. There is to it.
100%. So being aware of time ticking away, there's conversations. I think we could talk maybe 2 or 3 episodes about inner chatter creating chaos.
I think we. So the short answer is yes.
The short answer is yes, absolutely is creating.
But for tips, we do have them. Yeah, I didn't realize the time.
Yeah. So
what freaking cool
go. These have been
tips we've
great
got.
tips.
Yeah.
Even
though I don't want to do one of them. I don't want to do one.
I know. But facing up to it, I'll go away.
Oh, I know.
Inner crazy making.
Oh, it's not the end of the world. In reality, it's not the end of the world. And even if it is, it's not really. Yeah.
Not really. No. So, dear listeners, if you haven't been taking notes, we're going to recap all the tips, and we might even throw in a few extras.
We might just throw in a few extras.
So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start with number 1. And number 1 had an A, B, C, D, I believe.
Yep. Four parts.
Yeah, that's the one. So the number 1 brief version is appreciation.
Yeah.
Appreciation to what's happened around you, what's not happened around you, to those around you, to those not around you, to the insights you're getting from this. Just fill your heart with gratitude and appreciation. That's the simplest way to do it.
Yeah.
When appreciate it. Under that appreciation is acknowledge it, because clearly you're going to have to acknowledge it to appreciate it.
Yep.
Whether you want to or not, Deborah, it's wise to acknowledge it.
It is wise.
Yeah, it is wise. And then the other part is trust that you've got this. Trust that you know that you can get yourself out of whatever whirlpool you're sitting in, whatever it is. Trust with
whatever
that.
Chaos is there.
Yeah. And the other part to that is the hand on the heart. And that just calms your farm. Thanks to my cousin Ben. Just that hand on the heart just slows everything down. It just allows it to become clearer, more functional. So you're taking yourself from a 10 to closer to a 0 just by putting your hand on your heart. Like it's
Absolutely.
as quick as that. So tip 1 is appreciate. Thank you. Acknowledge. Got it. Don't have to agree with it. Have to agree with it. No, none of that. Just acknowledge it and trust that you're going to get through it with your hand on the heart.
Yep. Hand on the heart. Thank you. Got this. All is well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the best way to sum down number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like that. That was really good. The next one was this is also a multi-part.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is too, as I look at my notes. Yeah.
So this is about people. And so the first part about people are the people who are around you. Are they uplifting, soothing, suitable to your energy, or are they depleting you or asking something of you? And so just really about assessing it. Does that being in this environment with these people, does it make you feel less than or unconfident, or does it make you feel balanced and calm? Right. So these are not right or wrong answers. It's just assessing it. Right.
And Moira said, how do I feel about myself with this person?
With this
and I
person,
love that, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't like who I am. I don't like that I'm drinking or doing drugs or hiding things
or feeling nervous or a wee bit anxious or
walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And every chaos that you're having in your world can be resolved.
Yep.
With anything.
Absolutely it can. Which was the second part of the people, is to find a professional. So if you're in a big pickle and you're not quite sure what to do or how to address all that inner chatter, creating all this chaotic discombobulation, that seeking out help from a professional such as myself or Deb, we are trained, and it's our philosophy to hold neutral space, to actually kind of be the observers that help say, when you're embroiled in something, you sometimes can't see, what is that? You can't see the forest for the trees, or see the trees for the forest.
You're blind.
Yes. Yeah. And so sometimes it's really, really beneficial to speak it through with somebody who is not not stuck in the story or doesn't have any attachment to the outcome or to the story, right?
So we're skilling you to do the things for the best interest for your soul, and we're stripping back all the BS you have, belief systems, stories, archive stories, all that. We're stripping all those back, and we're looking at the facts, and we can come up with a solution to those facts that give you those strategies.
Absolutely.
Would be.
Yep.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yes,
Yep. So that's people. This one only doesn't have an A or a B. We're back to normal now.
Yes, we are. These are all
normal.
Plain sailing.
What's normal?
Normal.
Yeah,
What's normal? That's
Jeepers,
certainly not
Deborah.
here.
It's pretty random bringing Deborah and Moira on a podcast. Normal. Number 3 is you don't have to listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, that was because we talked about tip 1B about acknowledge.
Yeah.
And that is, you don't have to listen to it. You can just, all you're doing is acknowledging it. You don't have to listen to it, agree with it, or anything. You're just going, I see it. And the wording I wrote down here was observer of the inner chatter.
Yeah.
And being an observer of the inner chatter, you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it, or I don't disagree with it. Hadn't really thought about it. Okay. So you don't have to listen to it.
Don't have to listen to it or believe it.
Yeah. Or take it on. Yeah.
Or take it on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next tip that I have here is, and it's kind of in that same vein, is to not attach to other people's story. Because sometimes the story that we've got going on can be inherited. And somebody else says, I know how it's going to go. And the last time this happened, this is how it went for me. And then we can kind of take that on board and kind of go, if that's the way it went for them, then it's going to happen here. But that's an attachment, right? So,
and I think they generally want to help us by sharing a story.
Yeah, we talked about that there's not a malicious intention there.
Yeah.
But
it's just,
it's not theirs. Yeah, it's theirs. So it's not honoring your uniqueness or your capacity or capability from moving through or dialing down the volume on the chatter.
Yeah. So imagine if you had 10 stories attached to the one thing, like my insurance problem I'm having, and then someone told me their 5 stories. I've now got 15 to work through. And I'm like, I don't want your extra 5. I've got 10. And do you know how long it's going to take me to do 10? A lot right now, because I'm sitting at a 9 out of 10 of chaos.
Precisely. But you see, then the thing is that you're then going to be tasked by your own makeup in that scenario by working through stuff that's not yours. It's like, my gosh, you don't know, what a waste of your energy. Right? Like, let's not do that.
Take your own heart back. Yeah. I love that, attaching to others' stories. Well, I don't love it, but I love that tip. So the next one we've got, which is a little bit similar to this, is be aware of the source it's coming from.
Yeah.
And which could be a little A, B, C, or whatever to the one before. And the 2 words are always and never.
Yes. Watch out for those.
Whenever you hear yourself or other people, it always happens like this. They always do this. Or I never do it. A little bit of self-righteous there. I never do it. I've never done that. Who do they think they are? No, I don't know anyone who's never done that. That's, that whole thing. I never even thought about that. How could they do that? That always or never is a crazy as story that you're just going to go down. And so that does attach to that other stories. So be aware of the source where it's coming from. If it's yours, work through it. If it's someone else's, no. But if it's yours, you're worthy of working through it. And it won't take you long. It won't take you long.
It won't, because oftentimes it's just acknowledging there is. That's it.
Yeah.
There is. I just noticed it, and now I don't have to keep repeating it, right?
So see more value, I'm going to add this part into this, is see more value in finding the solution than sitting in the chaos.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next tip, I think we're on tip number 6, is know why.
And that's the end of the story. Done. No why.
No why. Don't be sitting there going, why does this always happen? Why does this always happen?
Always, yeah. Why does this always happen to me and not my partner? Why does this always happen? And I remember actually Dad said to me, why do you always attract the why do you always, I don't think he said attract, why do you always draw in the drama? Why do you always draw in the drama? Your sister never gets it like you. And I'm like, because my sister is in a different mindset. And, if the drama goes to her, she may not have the tools like I have to deal with it. Dad, would you rather my sister go through this or me? And he's like, oh, I'd rather have you than you. Thanks, Dad. Thanks. You'd rather me work through it. But I do get that. Oh, why do you always get the drama attached to you, Deborah? I'm like, because I'm better at working through it than most other people. Yeah. And he's just like,
that's actually something really important to attach to this one too, is that whatever we attract to us or draw into us, we have the capacity to deal with it. Otherwise it wouldn't have come. Right?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
know why. You don't ask why. You just go, oh, okay. And even, one of my mentors many years ago, she used to say that, is sometimes we can have a situation that in our chattering mind can go, holy crap, I don't know how to earth to deal with this. But if you take a deep breath and say, okay, I may not see it right now, but it wouldn't be here for me to work through if I didn't have it, the capacity to work through it, right?
Yeah.
That's actually a really powerful thing to remember.
When I think about that, I'm thinking, I was involved in the Christchurch, New Zealand earthquake, and now we're 11 years on or something. And people would say, why did Christchurch get it? Why didn't Auckland get it? Why didn't Wellington, the capital, get it? And it's like, does it really matter that Christchurch got it over others? And I started looking at why did Christchurch get it over others, and it was the why, and the value of why. It was more the value of why Christchurch got it more than Auckland. So Christchurch is known as the Canterbury Plains. So it's very flat. So there's definitely hills there, but there's not like Wellington has a whole lot of houses that are on edge on hills or mountains or whatever you want to call them, cliffs or whatever it was. There's a lot more in other areas of New Zealand than there. So it was like Canterbury Plains. We had our mayor at the time was an ex-TV personality who was a host. And so he was amazing around the world to front up. He sounded articulate. He knew his stuff. He had been brought up. So he could tell you pretty much everything every time, Sir Bob Parker, on what was happening. So to go to the media and not have somebody who wasn't as educated on his town. So there was a lot of blessings, and people were like, oh, it's actually okay that Christchurch got it over other people. Our government is in Wellington, the capital of New Zealand, so they didn't get it, so it allowed them to keep functioning. Like there was a lot of things, and then people were just like, oh, so you've actually turned this whole thing about what's the value to it happening to us in Christchurch rather than other places. Why? So it's just another spin on that one there. That.
Love that.
Yeah. Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
It's your turn.
My turn. So the next tip is this is the one I didn't want to do.
I know. So isn't it funny that
I'm reading this out?
This is the one she doesn't want to do.
This is the one I'm going to a 10 over. I'm not really, but it's take responsibility. And I've got witness to your own thoughts. Take responsibility to you being in that situation, it happening to you. Take full responsibility to whatever's going on around you. Take responsibility. Yeah, that's it.
And that leads you back into that thing I was just sharing too on our previous tip, is that you have the capacity to move through it. You might not see it. You might have that chatter doing, oh my God, this is terrible, and look at they're being idiots.
What do they say? One door closes and another opens. And I always say, but can't we just show me a glass door so I can see what's in the next thing? Don't, if you don't get that job, or you don't get that pay rise, or you don't get that partner or whatever. And that is that whole thing, is take responsibility for you here.
Absolutely.
You're right.
You're reminding me of that saying that yes, when one door closes, another opens. But somebody said, yeah, but the pain in the butt is the sitting in the hallway.
Sitting in the hallway in the dark. It's a long
hallway. Which door is going to open? I know one of them's going to, but I have to sit here in the hallway.
Hurry up. Yeah, and you spin out into desperation. Come on, what's the door opening? Come on. How long is it going to take? And
how long do I have to sit here?
Why do I have to do this? Then
No,
you're going
why?
to jump back to the why me?
Nothing to do
Why
with me.
having to wait in the corridor? Yeah, but that take responsibility.
Yes.
Ook. Which is actually one of the very first things is I do in a client consultation as we go, okay, let's look at the role you've played in this. I don't want to. Yeah, says Deborah, who's digging her toes in. But witness to your own thoughts.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah.
And the last tip that I have written down here is boundaries. You know, really, and we talked about, I know Deb doesn't like this word much, but it's an important piece.
Word.
It's an important piece to remember that you setting boundaries allows you to educate people how to treat you, how to speak to you, and also claims your own sense of self-worth. That's to me is more what boundaries are about, is that I'm worthy of my own consideration before saying, yes, I'll do this for you, or no, I won't do that for you, or I'm going to go this way or that way, right? Deb's trying to find
I just found another
word for boundary.
I actually just Googled thesaurus and it didn't come up thesaurus. It actually went synonyms. And there's a word in there that just went, beginning. Start again. You know, the word is beginning. So a boundary is beginning.
Okay.
So, and I just went, it's just a beginning. It's a starting all over. And so now that word boundary just goes, okay, people can say it's a boundary, but actually I'm just starting over. I'm just creating a new thing for me. I like that word. I like beginning more than boundaries.
So beginning are boundaries, but it's still up to you to put it in place,
boundary.
Right?
Yeah, totally. It's but be flexible.
Yes.
And adaptable.
Yeah, we did talk about that. To even though you have it, you don't become rigid and totally adhered to that. It is to have some flexibility. I have flexibility in what I set up for me, for sure. Excellent, excellent. So I think we got all of them.
Yeah. Take responsibility, Deborah. Yes.
And we'll check back in with Deb on this taking responsibility part.
Yes.
So is inner chatter creating chaos? Well, we already know it is. And so we trust that these tips that we have dived into and riffed about have helped you calm things down and just acknowledge, appreciate, trust, flow. But dear listeners, we would love to hear what's your favorite tip, and let us know, did we miss any? Do you have any favorite tip to calm some of the chaotic stuff down for yourself? So we'd love to hear from that. But now, as we're getting ready to end our conversation for today, we rated ourselves at the beginning on our scale of 0 to 10. And we trust that you checked in with yourself when we had the midway point, but now we're all going to check in and see, where are you now? So listeners, we'd love to hear where you were at the beginning and where you are now. I was at a 2.5 and dear Deb over here was at a 3.5. Where are you now, my dear?
I'm actually just going to say, as much as I go, I don't want number 7, take responsibility, I know that's going to shift me. I'm a 1 right now. And as I look at the take responsibility, I'm just grinning going, duh. You know, this is part of how it goes. If you take responsibility, Deborah, you know you're going to get to a 0. 100%. But I loved my favorite is tip number 1 is the appreciation, acknowledge, trust, and hand on heart. That warms me up. Yeah, and if I think of just that, I go to a 0. But I know I've got number 7 to work through, so I'm going to say a 1.
Very good. Yeah, I get that totally. For me, I'm at a 0. And like you, that is my favorite one, that appreciation. It's such a beautiful place to just kind of go, okay. And it, you know, when we were saying appreciation,
just feels like a beautiful space. It just feels.
It does. It's like the
nice and
when
nurturing.
We acknowledge, you accept, it just is what it is. All is well in my world. Awesome. Well, it's been great. Great.
Who would have thought?
I loved this. So, dear listeners, if you love this, and we trust you do and have, your next step for you to do is to share this episode, share it with people that you feel like maybe they could deal with some insights on how to deal with their inner chatter. So share it with your friends and family and anybody you think could be uplifted or helped by some of these tips.
There's some real solid tips in here.
Yeah,
take responsibility.
Oh, we'll keep you posted, dear listeners.
I'll let you know. You know. Yeah, this has been I've really enjoyed. I mean, I enjoy every single one.
We
but
always enjoy them.
This is definitely one that's shifted in me purely because of the chaos I was in this morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful conversation.
Timing.
This
Thank
is
you.
us wrapping up our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast episode. Thank you, dear Deb. This has been so much fun. And thank you, dear listeners. We'll be back with you next week.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.